Welcome to episode 179 of Gallifrey Pirate Radio, where we are going to talk about catch up on Doctor Who news and
only 3 months late,
the Christmas special. Although I mean, honestly, we have talked about the Christmas special.
We've talked about it in panels. So if you saw episode 176 from Mysticon, we discussed that briefly.
And we hit it
really briefly.
Yeah.
Maybe not actually enough to warrant it actually being a review, but we're going to just do some final thoughts just so we can just check that off the list.
Yeah. And before we get into that, I am your host, David Beauchamp, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Drew Meyer.
Christmas special or news?
Let's do news first. Let's just get the news out of the way because there's a lot of it.
There is a lot of news.
You know what I find, what I'm really excited about with the news this time around, and keep in mind too that it's been a while since the last episodes that were recorded, so some of this news might even be a little old, but it's news to us. There's a lot of books coming out.
Lots of books.
And one of the things I really dig about the books is they are independent books. So quite a few of these are not sanctioned by the BBC. No, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say not sanctioned, but they're not official BBC publications. A lot of them are coming private presses and individual editors.
Yeah.
And of course, this week, if you're watching this, last week saw the release of You and Who Making Contact Volume 1.
Yes.
That, of course, is edited by J.R. Stoffel. And one of the things that makes that such an interesting collection, it's a reprinting. A couple of things have changed with this volume. What it is it's looking at the entire history of Classic Who, story by story, but instead of being reviews, it's personal anecdotes by the authors regarding a time in their lives that story affected them and how it affected them. So that's really cool. So if you are a Doctor Who historian, this is not going to give you any new information about the history of the show from a technical level.
Right.
But this is really looking at the personal side of things.
Well, kind of like we sort of do when we interview Whovians.
Yeah,
we get their stories.
Yeah.
Because I find that absolutely fascinating.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And we all come to Doctor Who for different reasons, and
Yeah.
we all take something completely different away from it. And I've read, I think probably about 10 or 12 entries from this one, just looking at examples of them. All of them were very well put together, very good stories. Some of them incredibly moving. Unicorn and the Wasp. Oh no, sorry, that's in the second volume. So it's just really good stuff. So that's coming out. Of course, next month,
Volume 2 comes out, which focuses on
the New Who stories.
New Who stories.
But Davey, why is that an important collection?
I don't know, Drew. Why is that an important collection?
I don't know. Who could possibly be interesting enough to write into a volume of Doctor Who segments?
I don't know.
Certainly not us.
Not us, not at all.
We have a warrant.
No.
We have no interesting stories whatsoever, and certainly wouldn't have put them in. So, what's your story about?
Mine actually, strangely enough, ends up. I got the chance to write about the Five Doctors.
Right.
Which is very interesting because, as much as I love Classic Who and I really wanted them to be part of the 50th anniversary, it's not particularly my favorite thing.
It is not.
But I have an interesting connection to it.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to leave it at that because I want you to either watch old episodes of GPR to figure it out or buy the anthology.
Sure.
And what's yours about?
Let's see, this one, it changed actually.
Yeah.
I originally wrote for a different story, and then someone dropped out, and they said, hey, listen, we like your story, could we put it in something else? So I ended up with, Night of the Doctor. So you got to write about something near and dear to you, and I get to write something about near and dear to me, which is really good. So this will be my first foray into being published from non-technical. I mean, you have written for years, so you've been published before. For me, this is really special because not only is it Doctor Who related, but it's the first thing I've written that isn't a rule book or adventure. So
the exciting thing is this might be out in time for Heroes.
It will be out in time for Heroes.
Because I'll be at Heroes.
Yeah.
You'll be at Heroes.
I will be at Heroes, absolutely. Well, it's hopefully in time. Yeah, we'll definitely be in time. One of the things, I'm a little bummed that Volume 2 didn't come out last week, because of course you will be doing a report on the convention that I will have gone to once the time you saw this was Regeneration Who in Maryland. But I know that several people who are working on those as part of the con staff, they also had things. And one of the things I like about these books is, wow, there are some famous people in there. There's something really nice about to be able to hold these books that have all these different stories, hundreds of stories in there, and go to a convention and go, wait, you wrote in that? I wrote in that. Do you have your copy? I'll sign your copy. You can sign my copy. I'm looking forward to that kind of icebreaker, because while I can be a social person,
you're far more social than I am.
I get nervous around large crowds, and introducing myself to people sometimes works out oddly. But yeah, that would be great to both have it over there for Heroes. That'd be cool.
Oh yeah. Then we have this is a volume I bought, or book I bought. Space Helmet for a Cow is finally out. I've had this thing on pre-order for about a year. As soon as we heard about it, I was like, yes, because it delves into the history of Classic Who.
Right.
And sometimes I've been absolutely fascinated by it ever since I started watching the VAM on the DVDs, which I didn't actually pay attention to until I started grad school of all times.
Yeah.
And then the Big Finish interviews that they had with Nicholas Courtney, JNT, and then the one with Tom Baker. I'm really finding the history of Doctor Who absolutely fascinating, because
it's all over the place.
It is all over the place. I mean, there is so much drama behind the scenes. It's amazing.
Yeah, and of course, Space Helmet for a Cow is produced by Mad Norwegian Press, and that's written by Paul Kirkley. I got a chance to look at my budget, see if I could order a book. I wanted a new fun Doctor Who book to read, and I had a choice between Space Helmet for a Cow, which I knew you were getting. And I went with the second choice, which came out this past week, which is called Companion Pieces, also by Mad Norwegian Press, where they're doing some great stuff. And the Companion Pieces are a series of essays written by women about the companions. Simple enough, easy enough to open. This is Liz Miles from Verity is one of the editors on that. And so far I've only read pieces. Sometimes, like when they did with Chicks Take Time Lords and Chicks Unravel Time, which is an excellent one. I read both of those cover to cover in the way that they kind of, I don't know, just to see how they made it flow, because neither one of them is written in a chronological order, so it doesn't have series 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. So I've just been reading the essays of people who I've met at conventions or
well, this just means that we really need to sit down, talk to all the podcasters out there, and just get them to write essays about why they podcast about Doctor Who. What it is, because there's so many people that we both know, from videocasters to other people that do other shows that may not focus on Doctor Who, but they do talk about Doctor Who. I just think it'd be fascinating. Why do we spend so much time talking about Doctor Who? Why do we create these shows?
Yeah, and I agree, though part of me, we're both librarians, so of course the format we want to talk about is books. But it just makes so much more sense if we did a podcasting anthology in podcast form. But maybe we could just get them to write the essays and then read them or something along those lines, and maybe do both. Okay, so I think that's it as far as new books, or is there something else that you want to talk about?
Well, Doctor Who Legacy has some new levels coming out.
Absolutely.
A lot of new stuff with Pixel Who.
Yeah.
They've been
the bigger on the inside.
Just lots of promotional stuff going out for that. I'm waiting for it to start. By the time, I don't know if it's going to start by the time this comes out.
By the time you see this, it'll have already started, so you definitely want to go to Doctor Who Legacy and take a look at that. We've discussed it on numerous episodes. Go back and see those interviews with Lee.
I'm sure we'll be getting on the show again in the near future. Excited about that. I always love talking to Lee.
It's come to the we've talked about my drama with trying to play this game, with not working on my phone once my phone became outdated. Something happened to my computer not too long ago, and for whatever reason I can no longer play it on my computer, but I can play it on my computer at work. So occasionally I will still play my Doctor Who Legacy. I am woefully behind. I'm still having to get that huge chunk of expert level characters that came out fairly recently. I'm still working on that, but I'm looking forward to.
Well, it's something I'm excited about. I cannot wait for this to come out. Doctor Who Magazine, they like to do specials. They're doing one on the Master.
Yeah,
I am
Central Master.
so excited about this because I mean they're not cheap because I mean they're always imports. They're about the price of a hardback book.
Mm-hmm.
But this one I cannot wait for.
Do you see who's on the cover of this one?
Yes.
See a nice big Delgado right in the front.
Oh yeah, I mean.
But you've got
God, it's Delgado.
Well, yeah, I know, First Master, right? And of course you've got Missy on one side,
Sims on the other.
Sim on the other.
Yeah.
So you got some new qualifying. I feel there's just not enough Ainsley love, but that's okay.
Should we talk about Eli Who?
Certainly.
Before we get into the one big rumor, I can't wait to spring on you.
Yeah, okay. Let's talk about Eli Who. You're going to Eli Who.
I'll be going to Eli Who.
And you're going as a vendor.
Vendor, I will be vending.
Yeah.
We have some really cool stuff, Doctor Who-wise, that we're going to be vending with. Well, including Volume 2 of You and Who, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, I would not at all be surprised if a number of people with articles in that as well were there, which that'll be really cool to show the stories. I don't know if I'm going.
Yeah.
Money's a little tight this time around, but
he doesn't realize I'm going to blackjack him, throw him in the back of my car, and he's coming whether he knows it or not.
Please don't hit me over the back of my head. I need my head to think. Of course, there's a lot of good reasons not only to see Davey and possibly myself there.
Yeah.
At this point in time, they're slowly announcing guests, but wow, Eli Who, what a lineup so far.
I will let you say the first name, the first one they announced.
Well, the first one they announced is Katie Manning. So, of course, the third Doctor's companion, Jo Grant, is going to be there. She's sort of headlining it.
Yeah.
She's a big star. As of this interview, as of this show, I have only been to one Doctor Who convention, so I'm still new. I don't know who usually makes the rounds or not, but man, Katie Manning, that's some start. Like, she's enough to carry a convention.
I'm excited because I'm actually doing a 3 Doctors piece.
Cool.
Just because Kate Manning's there, I'm probably going to work on a specific 3rd Doctor piece, focusing on Katie. But when they announced this name,
yes,
it was a done deal. I mean, I was already planning on going because Drew just said so many wonderful things about Eli Who, the staff, the way everything managed. You know, everything that happened was just absolutely phenomenal. But they announced Carol Ann Ford.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Carol Ann Ford.
The Doctor's first companion.
Yeah. The Doctor's granddaughter.
Yeah.
She's going to get so much of my money. Well, no, because I have some of the Big Finish stuff that she's done, and it's just like, the entire time I've been doing conventions, and this includes Dragon, I mean, we're talking 10 years of doing sci-fi fantasy conventions, you know, both Kate Manning and Carol Ann Ford, I have never even been close to seeing. Yeah. And I'm going to make it count.
Yeah, absolutely.
God.
Also returning, of course, Fraser Hines is going to be there, and from personal experience, I can tell you, Fraser Hines is worth the price of admission. Not just. I mean, just Fraser Hines.
Yeah.
Just follow him around. You know, jump out of corners and surprise him. Buy him a beer.
I had a chance to meet him at Dragon one year, and of course, nobody was paying attention to Doctor Who at the time. At Little and Classic, so it was great to meet him then. Wonderful, wonderful guy to meet. So that's exciting to meet him again.
Annette Madeline is going to be there. She is the matriarch of the Selene clan from from actually 3 of the Doctor Who episodes. The World War III, Aliens in London, and Boomtown. So that'll be really cool. I think still one of the most underappreciated aliens in New Who.
I gotta say, I'm excited by this. Another man that I'm gonna see if I can't kill. Nicholas Briggs.
Oh, right. I understand the reference now.
Yeah. Check out New Who, Who and You Volume 2 to find out that story. Yeah. But I'm excited about, you know, not only getting some of the Big Finish stuff I have signed, the Monopoly Award signed, but baby, the Arizona Solution. God, yeah.
He may just kill you to remove that as evidence, but
he wrote it.
I know.
I'm actually curious. The one thing I want to ask him, if I get a chance to actually interview Nick, because we're going to try to get interviews, is I want to know if what he wrote actually got translated to screen properly.
Yeah, sure.
Because you always hear these stories about, you know, what they had written and what actually got produced were 2 totally different monsters. And I really want to know is how much actually made it. I mean, how true to the script they were.
Right.
So
rounding off, we have Gary Russell and Richard Dinnick, both of whom have written novels. Gary Russell, I've heard his interviews with various Who celebrities before. He's a hoot. He's done a lot for Doctor Who, post-classic era. So both of those are, if you like your Doctor Who authors, if you are a book reader and you like Doctor Who, so both of those should be really quite cool. And I'm quite assured that they're going to be announcing more folks.
Oh yeah.
But still, not a bad lineup.
Nope.
So I'm excited for that one. So, anything else before we go into the Christmas episode?
The big rumor.
Oh, right, the big rumor.
The big rumor.
I keep on forgetting.
Yeah, because you thought the
rumor.
Yeah, it's a rumor. It's an interesting one if it actually takes place. Because you thought I was teasing you with the appearance of what's her name at Timegate.
Oh, Michelle Gomez.
Michelle Gomez being at Timegate.
Are you going to Timegate?
I am not going to Timegate.
Okay. I know you were planning at one point.
Well, that was last year.
Okay.
But that didn't happen, and that's just not going to happen. I will be down there for another convention, AtlantaCon, which is interesting enough. They're actually going to have the Blue Power Ranger there, so me, Power Rangers, and Davey at cons, it happens all the time. But there is a rumor going around about who the second companion is.
Okay.
Because we know that there is going to be a second companion in the TARDIS this year.
Okay. Did you know that?
You got it? Yeah. They've been talking about that almost nonstop since the Christmas special.
Oh, okay.
That there's going to be a second companion, because we thought there was going to be a second companion last year with Danny Pink.
Mm-hmm.
It never really happened, but they've been really talking up that there's going to be a second companion this time around. A lot of people are hedging money that it's going to be the blonde from the Christmas special, which we're about to talk about. Shona. But here is the interesting rumor, especially because they're saying that the Doctor is going to be played a little bit differently this time around.
Mm-hmm.
The rumor has it that the second companion might very well be the Master. Which, if you look at, Classic Who and what they wanted to do with the Third Doctor and the Master, and what they did with Shri and the Shaka, and sort of what they try to do with Tennant and Sims, what an interesting idea and concept to have the Master as an actual companion.
Are we talking about a full season character, or just for a story arc?
No, we're talking and since we're getting her in the first 2 episodes, the possibility is there. And again, we don't know if this is a pre or post Master from the 2-parter, Death in Heaven and Dark Water.
I certainly wouldn't have a problem, both from a narrative perspective, having the Master aboard the TARDIS, because it works so well in Shulka. And I certainly wouldn't have a problem with it, with Michelle Gomez being the amazing actress that she is. I wait to be impressed by your rumor, Mr. Beauchamp.
Well, yeah, no, I just, there isn't a lot coming out about this season right now. Of course, they're pretty good at keeping stuff, tight-lipped. We haven't even seen much in the way of production photos, because they've already started the 2nd or 3rd block by now.
Yeah, we've seen 1 or 2. I don't know, did we mention that Mark Gatiss has a story?
No, because that was just announced this past week.
Oh, okay.
Hey, 2 weeks ago.
Mark Gatiss has got a story in there. We don't know where it's going to...
But supposedly it's going to be a scary episode.
Good.
He said he was even a little creeped out or horrified by the episode.
Very well.
And of course, that's all we know. We don't know if it's going to be a period piece, which is what he's known for.
He's never done anything else.
So who knows? Maybe he's actually stepped outside the box.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah,
that would be interesting. That would be cool. I would certainly be a fan of Michelle Gomez. More airtime for Michelle Gomez.
Yeah, no, I like the chemistry between the 2 characters, especially if this is a Doctor that's trying to redeem the Master.
Yeah. Boy, Clara is not going to be happy with
that's what I'm saying. It could be so very interesting.
Right.
With that sort of dynamic of those 3 characters in the TARDIS together.
Mm-hmm.
It lends itself to some really interesting storytelling.
Gotcha.
We'll have to wait and see.
Okay.
So the Christmas special.
Yeah, it feels like Christmas outside.
Yes.
There's no snow on the ground. It's
For
warm,
once.
sunny. There's a squirrel.
Yes.
There's more squirrels. But it seems like an appropriate time on the first day of spring to be talking about the Christmas episode. Yeah. I think the only thing that we've really talked about, other than some fleeting comments, was our review of it immediately following, where you said that it was your favorite Christmas episode.
It is,
and it still is.
It's still up there, and the fact that I think we haven't even mentioned that Patrick Troughton's son was actually the professor.
Yeah. I guess we didn't make that clear. I wasn't sure about that one.
No, because we actually had people comment, thank you, to let us know that, because we weren't sure if he was or he wasn't. But yeah, we had people comment telling us, yes, he was.
Sure.
So
just for those of you who are watching this now, they commented almost immediately. So by the 26th, we knew. This is not a new discovery. This is not news.
No. This is. I mean, that was just. It's been that long since it's been that long since Christmas. What, 6 months almost?
No, we're only 3.
3, okay.
But it really feels like 6 months.
It does.
It feels like 6 months since the last time I saw you. So
yeah.
it's a time is very relative these days. It seems like, now with you being basically 2 hours away.
Actually, it's not that far.
Well, I guess that's not. It feels like it.
It does.
Distance also being relative.
Yeah.
So. You still like it.
I still really like the episode because it was different.
It was definitely very different. The thing is, if you want to use some words to describe Capaldi's run, it has been definitely different.
Yeah.
There's certainly a lot going on with this one that it isn't. How many times have you watched it since Christmas?
Once or twice.
Yeah, I watched it once with my wife just to show her, and then I watched it again for this review. I got so burnt out on multiple watchings for episodes that I'm now just watching it one time, maybe twice if Megan wants to see it, and that's it. Usually I'm going to hold off because I haven't gone back and watched Deep Breath since I watched it 5 times in like 3 days. And
I remember that.
It's almost like, when you eat something really good but you get sick of it.
Yeah.
You don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
I feel every time I think of Deep Breath now, I kind of just want to go, I don't want to sit through another hour.
Well, I mean, honestly, if you're going to talk about Deep Breath, I think there's some great parts about it. I think there's some bad parts about it. But like we said about the entire season, I think, or the series, is that it was consistently good.
It was very consistently well made, absolutely. Yeah, I think there were very few low points of it, and certainly not nearly as much high points. In the last episode we discussed the top 10, according to the Radio Times, that didn't include any of Capaldi's episodes. And I am a little surprised that Listen didn't make it on there.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Christmas episode.
And also at the time, we didn't know if we were going to get Clara back or not. They kept that quiet up until it aired.
The interesting thing from what Moffat has said in recent interviews is Moffat didn't know if he was getting Clara back.
Really? I did not know that.
She was scheduled to leave, according to, I think it came out in the last couple of weeks. According to an interview, Clara was originally going to leave the show via Death in Heaven. And then, let's at least do the Christmas special.
Yeah.
That will be my last one. You know what? I think I might be signing back up for another one. And I think it's interesting because Jenna Coleman certainly has the capabilities as an actress to, I think, become incredibly successful.
Oh yeah.
Outside of Doctor Who, I think she's certainly,
or Marvel movies,
or Marvel movies. Because she's afraid of being typecast as Captain America's best friend's date at carnivals. She keeps on getting those roles. World's Fair, right? World's Fair. It's been a while since I've seen that one too.
I just watched it again because Maya's never seen it.
Oh, good, neat.
Yeah. And she's like, "Is that Jenna Louise Coleman?" I'm like, "Yes, it is."
Yes, it is. Yeah. I think it's interesting that she could have left the show on this high and certainly gone into more successful work than, let's say, Matt Smith has gone into. Though he is about to be in a Terminator franchise. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I am very happy that she's remained. And this episode in particular certainly gave us reason to be happy that she's sticking around. I think performances all around were excellent.
But I'll tell you this, if she would have went on like that, that would have been a first. We've never had a companion go out like that.
Are we saying that if she had aged out?
Aged out.
That was what they originally filmed.
Oh my God, that would have been amazing.
It really would have. I think you would have had the fan bases kind of decrying foul in that we have it's not the same. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I was watching it again this morning thinking, this would have been a really excellent way to go. It has a little echoes of Rory and Amy being that just getting lost in time and kind of missing.
But this was good.
But this was perfectly said. Yeah, this was good. And we're talking about the end of the episode, not talking about anything else. I think I didn't know what to think about it the first time I saw it. We watched it with commercials the very first time. I watched it with commercials the very first time, and anytime I do that, the problem is with Doctor Who is I'm friends with so many fans on Facebook and on the internet on a number of sites that people just don't understand etiquette. They're going to spoil something.
Yeah.
So if I don't watch it at its first airing, someone's going to spoil it.
Yeah, I mean that's why I have to do what I do.
Right.
Because I mean it's crazy. I mean I will give my opinion as how much I like it or didn't like it, but I will not talk about the episode at least for a couple days after because I don't want to ruin things for people.
Sure, absolutely. So we watched it with the commercial breaks, which certainly made it
choppy.
Less, yeah. It's just choppy and weird. But on second viewing, I really enjoyed it, and I've heard people talk about it being Aliens meets Miracle on 34th Street meets The Thing, and I think it's very obvious in the actual episode that it says yes, it is sort of paying homage to it, but Dreams Within Dreams have existed well before Inception.
Yeah.
And I think the way it was done, it was very effective.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was just different. Mm-hmm. And I think that was something I've been looking for in the Christmas specials. I mean, I can appreciate A Christmas Carol, which even though it's not one of my favorites, I can appreciate it for, it was the first time we had a true Christmas special, and not just an episode at Christmas.
At Christmas time. Yeah, agreed. I think one of the things that makes Last Christmas really enjoyable is the lack of, I don't know if saccharonicity is a word. It wasn't a very saccharine episode. It didn't feel like overly sweet and sentimental. It has its moments towards the end and everything with Santa Claus, which I thought was very well done. I
still wonder who Santa is. I don't think he's Santa. I think he's still a character within the Who universe.
You think, well, see.
I'm starting to think he's the White Guardian.
Yeah.
And that's thanks to you, Dr. Who Legacy, because when you look at his character, he's listed as Guardian.
Mm.
And it just, that is such a White Guardian thing to do.
Well, keep in mind the White Guardian and the Black Guardian are the same things. And here's the thing, I think what Moffat did with this episode was really kind of quite ingenious in that because you're dealing with dream mechanics and dream reality, any interpretation you come away with is not necessarily a wrong interpretation.
Right.
I think it certainly leans towards one way or the other, but it's nice that this episode, I think when Moffat wrote it, he had something in mind.
Yeah.
And I think that interpretation is what I've pulled away from it. But I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, well, I think it's this," or "I think it's this," and the tangerine at the end signifies this. And you know what? As far as I'm concerned, you're all right because it's a Christmas episode. They're wonky to begin with. It's a Christmas episode about dreams.
Yeah.
That in itself, just any rules just go out the window.
Yeah.
And as a fan of all the movies that it's paying homage to, I thought it was really enjoyable to see that in the context. Potential companions.
Yeah.
I think Shona could have been a potential companion. I think Ashley could have been a potential companion.
And we still might get one of them. We don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? You've absolutely ruined that phrase, Tom Baker.
Yes, you have.
I think that it felt like Shona or Ashley were being set up for a future companion. It's kind of a Ray versus Ace situation where depending on what happens, we could get one or the other.
Yeah.
And I think if Jen Coleman had decided to stay on, we could have gotten one of those actors. Either one of you, whose names I don't remember, would have done a great job.
Yeah.
And still might.
So anything else you want to say about the Christmas episode before we wrap this bad boy up?
Yeah, I know, we should really make this quick.
Any really, really low points?
Low points. Not really. No, there was one or two things that I wasn't thrilled with, and a couple of things that I liked, but I think it was, again, a fairly consistent episode.
Yeah.
I think on rewatch, one of the things I thought was a little odd is, again, you're dealing with dream mechanics with this, but again, spoilers, if you haven't watched the episode, really, you shouldn't be watching this. The 4 bodies lying in there, it's obvious that some of the actresses didn't play it. I don't think Troughton played one of those sleeping ones, because there are 4 svelte crab heads, sleepers or whatever. So, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I like the fact that he was the only one that gets eaten. It was enjoyable. I enjoyed it. Thumbs up.
And one last thing is coming up in the upcoming weeks, I will be at RavenCon at the end of April, 24th, 25th, 26th. We'll be doing Doctor Who trivia and a live episode of GPR with a few familiar faces and some new faces as well that have never been on the show before, which is exciting. So he thinks I have my Drew mask.
God, Davey managed to make it creepy.
No, that was Trisha Hines that managed to make it creepy. But until next time, this is GPR signing off. Peace.
See you guys.